Okay, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Village of Leonard Council. Today is March 13th, 2023. Before we move on to the rest of the agenda, I wanted to mention that unfortunately we lost a resident last month after our meeting. George Schutte passed away. He lived on Division Street over by John. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of that. So if we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a brief invocation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God, we thank you we can come here and meet, and thank you for the health you given to us, and we pray that you would give us wisdom as we go through the meeting today, and that you would just grant us favor. In your name, amen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, clerk will now call roll call for the village council attendance.
McDonald,
Here?
Kennedy,
Here.
Pelichick. Here. Swack, Hawkins.
Yeah.
Okay, we note for the record that both Clerk Lori Zelenak and Treasurer Judy Verse are present. The council has received the minutes of the last regular meeting, which was February 13th of 2023. Are there any questions, changes, edits? If none, and when ready, motion to approve them or amend them would be in order.
I will make a motion to receive and file the meeting minutes from February 13th, 2023.
Second that.
There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes of February 13th. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay, the minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is the agenda. Are there any questions, additions to the agenda that you have before you this evening? If none, a motion to approve would be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second have been made. Did you get the makers? You want me to call the names of who makes the motions, or did you get them?
Oh, yeah, I've got them.
Okay.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Well, it just takes time, so. Okay, all in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion carries, the agenda is approved. Council has before it the minutes of the treasurer's report for the month of February. Are there any questions or changes, corrections? If none, a motion to receive and file them as approved would be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Receive and file the treasurer's report for February of 2023. Could we have a roll call for that, please?
Sure. Hawkins,
Yes.
Swack,
Yes.
Pelichick.
Yes.
Kennedy,
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes. Okay, motion carried. Report is received. You'll find a separate sheet in your packet. It is hopefully the last amendments we'll make for our 22-23 budget, which ended February 28th. As long as we've received all of our outstanding invoices, et cetera, we'll be able to close out that budget after making these amendments. But there is a possibility that we could get something that was not sent in timely, in which case we would have to handle that later on. So I'll go through the adjustments for the council and those in attendance. The following budget adjustments are needed to balance the final 2022-2023 budget. In the general income, we're increasing the amount for the inspectors, $3,000. And we're increasing the expenses for inspectors to $3,000. This results in an increase to our total budget from $266,387.24 to $269,387.24. Then moving on, the following categories will be increased. Legal will be increased $1,550. Clerk's phone will be increased $80. Dues and seminars will be increased by $210. Streetlights will be increased by $950. Roland Hall will be increased by $320. The annex will be increased by $125. The expense, the money to pay for those items are coming out of the expense, decreasing the amount allocated for mileage, which was $340, the planning commission, which was $1,500, and equipment maintenance, which was $1,395. So these changes are to the category only. There's no change in the budget total. And then under the major fund, we're going to have an expense increase of $2 for the blinker, and we'll pay for that by decreasing the expense for pavement markings by $2. Once again, there's no change to the budget total. And then finally, in local, we're going to increase grading streets as an expense by $125, and we'll decrease dust control by $125 to balance that amount. So again, there's no change to the budget total. So we're recommending that this amendment be made for our 2022-2023 budget. Are there any questions from the council first?
What the planning commission not spend money on?
Didn't meet as often,
Oh,
so, yeah,
okay.
more meetings. I'm teasing, Leslie.
There's no reason to, that makes
Yeah,
sense. Okay.
that's one of the ways, and if you don't meet, we don't have a related costs to
Yeah,
expense. There's no notices for
special
publication.
meetings and stuff like that. Okay, so the whatever's left will cover what's needed. Gotcha.
Okay, if there are no questions, anybody else? Hearing none,
I will make the motion to accept and accept the changes and adjustments and modify the budget accordingly for 22 to 2023.
I will second.
we have a motion by trustee Swack, support by trustee Kennedy. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Swack,
Yes.
Pelichick, Kennedy,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Hawkins.
Yes.
The amendments are made. Okay, next item on the agenda is accounts payable for February of 2023. You'll see the amount there, general fund, $14,797.35. Major, $2,282.79. And local, $254.21. Nothing out of Mill Park Recreation. Are there any questions on the accounts payable?
I'd like to make a motion that we pay the bills in the amount of $14,797.35 for general, $2,282.79 for major, $254.21 for local, and nothing for Mill Park Recreation.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to pay the bill, accounts payable for February of 2023. I have a mistake with the agenda. I said January. This is for February. Okay, can we have a roll call then? Or did,
Pellicet?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Swack?
Yes.
Hawkins?
Yes.
McDonald?
yes. Okay. Okay, moving on to public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to address the village council. Village council need not respond. Please direct your questions to the chair, and please limit your comments to about 3 minutes. We'd appreciate it. Anybody like to address the council?
I have one comment.
You're last.
When is the, good enough so that the roads can be like the roads get filled and they do the
Chloride and stuff,
sodium
yeah.
chloride or whatever it is?
Oh, it'll be some time before they can chloride, but, we haven't really gotten to the thaw yet. The roads still have weight restrictions on them.
Is it
It'll be after that, unless it's a bad pothole or
late April or early May?
for that. But potholes, we try to get them as soon as they show up, so.
There's one a little bit, you know, on the, coming from north to south. It's kind of just forming. It's down through one layer.
Is that on the asphalt or is that on the, okay.
It's coming south into town, you know, from north to south.
Right. Yeah, as I've mentioned at past meetings, Forest Street was repaved in 2011. And so it's not going to get better. We're going to be doing more and more patching and repairs on it.
Somebody was doing it today.
Pardon?
Somebody was doing it today.
Yeah, the county came through. Yeah, yeah. When they see a bad one, they'll usually throw something in it, even
Did I
what,
ever go down Basin Division then?
is that dirt road or is that,
Oh, Lord, it's dirt.
I think that's
Have you
dirt.
been down there?
Yes, I have.
You'll lose your car in Special Division.
Yeah, well, it slows people down, Sydney. Okay, we're not going there.
I was gonna say, yourself, watch
Yeah,
it. I'm being nice tonight.
okay. All right, are there any other comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. The only new business we have, and I want to express my appreciation and that of the village council to Kay Olson, who has been the custodian of Roland Hall for a long time. And she reached the point where she felt that she couldn't do it anymore, so she resigned. And so we will be looking for someone to replace her. My preference is we hire somebody local to continue to clean it. We were paying $100 a month for her services, so that's probably going to be topic of discussion if somebody's interested in doing it. If you know of somebody, you can have them contact me or the village, and we'll get back to them. But we want to definitely thank her for all the years of service that she gave the village.
What does the job entail? Just in case.
Basically, it entails vacuuming the stairs and sweeping them, doing the floors, doing the windows as capable. Kay couldn't really do the windows all the way up. So we did have a window service a couple times come in, but they only did one. The quote they gave us was to only do the outsides, so they didn't do the insides. So Kay did the best she could to get the insides done, but just generally clean the bathrooms, which it doesn't require a lot. Since we're not used by the public except for public meetings like this one, they don't see a lot of use. But cobwebs, just general housekeeping, is all that's required. And
Did she come in?
2 or 3 times a month,
Usually twice, once before the meeting and then a couple weeks after.
yeah. And that's,
Unless there's something going on,
right. If there was a special meeting or something, sometimes
for
she'd go
voting.
make sure the place was touched up. Nice, so. Okay, moving on to old business. The sewer study committee, met. They did not have a quorum, but they did, talk about the concluding the sewer study. And to that end, there were basically two options that were discussed as being the most practical and feasible. The cost difference was, it was actually the first option, not by preference, but the first option discussed was a lagoon option, and the second option was a community septic system. The community septic system is a cost-effective, affordable project, but it can only be a certain size. It would not cover much more than the downtown area. So it really wouldn't benefit people that, like maybe down on Basin Street where they have a lot of water, groundwater, and they have trouble with their septics and things like that. We couldn't expand it. So it has a reduced service area. The lagoon system requires the acquisition of a larger piece of property. But it would service a much larger area. And in terms of practicality, it would be not the same price per resident for the service, but it wouldn't be as it would be for a community septic system, because there are a lot of fixed costs. You have to have the collection system, which is a fixed cost, and then you have to have your hookup and the parts of the system, the pump and the sewer line for the home itself, which are the responsibility of the homeowner. But the difference between having a lagoon system, aside from the initial cost, is very cost-effective compared to the community septic system.
What's a lagoon system person? I mean, obviously, a community septic is a buried tank,
Right.
like a regular,
Well,
which is a
yeah.
very large buried tank. What is the lagoon? It almost sounds like everything's kind of up.
Like open air ponds almost.
Yeah,
Okay.
it would be basically 2 5-acre, I don't remember. Yeah, it would require a sizable piece of property, but it would allow, it would be big enough, like in Dryden, they only have to rotate their lagoons like once every 7 or 8 years. So it's kind of a hands-free,
They have one?
pardon?
They have a lagoon?
Yeah, they have a lagoon system in Dryden.
Is that what actually, that's their city hookup?
Yeah. It's on the north side of Dryden Road, or Metamora Road, whatever you would call it. It's way back to the north, so you wouldn't know it's there. The downside of lagoons, they are bigger, they're visible, much more visible. And there are some people that feel that there's a odor, but most of the odors are generally when they turn over the system, where they clean out one pond and start spillage into the new pond. So you're really only using one pond at a time. It fills up. When it reaches a certain point, they switch over to the you have to have at least 2 lagoons, and they start using the new lagoon. But with the output we would expect, with the service area that the committee has been talking about, it would be, in my mind, it would be the most beneficial to the village. Of course, that's going to be a subject of we'll take that under consideration at some point. I've said in the past, I really think the people should vote on whether they want to do it or not, and, have it at a general election or what, which would put us off until 2024, but still feasible. And meanwhile, I have applied, we have a new congressional representative, Lisa McLean, and she, like our former Congresswoman, has their, for lack of a better description, a $10 million, in the old days, they called it a pork barrel, where they could designate projects that should receive funding. Each member of Congress has this $10 million option. So I have applied to Congresswoman McLean for between $750,000 and $1 million that would assist us with acquiring the property and also doing the preliminary engineering for the construction of such a system. And it would be, either way, we would need property for either system. So that's where we are right now. So I'll be happy to field any questions from the council first, and then I'll ask the audience.
How many homes would be capable of hooking up?
Well, with the,
Is there a limit, or?
yeah, there are definitely limits. And the technical end of it is that like a regular home is considered one residential equivalency unit, whereas a store may be 5 REUs. So how intense the use is of the property being served. But the smaller, the community septic system, and this isn't, I don't have more than one of these because I just got it from the engineers, but it would basically serve downtown. It would serve down to Whitehead Street, over to, actually the edge of my property, and then north and south, 25 homes.
So basically everybody,
And stores.
smaller lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the focus would be the smaller
Yeah,
lots.
but it doesn't cover, like, there are a lot of smaller lots along Elmwood Street that aren't.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So it
to
would
the
make it
east,
to you.
that was one of the primary discussion points of covering.
Because, I mean, those houses they would still need assistance if their septic.
If
needed to
something
go
went
somewhere.
bad.
If something went bad, they
Yeah.
would still need help. And I wouldn't want
And-
to, that didn't include everybody.
And the lagoon system would would service that need.
Oh, I'm sorry. That, you were talking if that was the
Oh, septic.
underground septic? Okay. I apologize.
Sorry about that.
No, I,
That wasn't clear. You can pass it over to John if you'd like. This one is the community septic system. That's what it would service. Here's Elmwood and Rochester Road. And then this is the.
That looks like a
system.
better, right.
Well, it would definitely not leave anybody out downtown. But it's not gonna cover as big an area
Yeah, that's-
as when we were talking about
We're
hooking up to
thinking.
Detroit.
Even this.
Detroit water, but $40 million is just unrealistic
Oh,
for the village to hook up to Detroit water.
Because this is new to me. Last time you were checking out Oxford.
We were.
yeah, I guess you're right. Even the lagoon doesn't get down to Alex. It doesn't hit Alex, that we're still
Right.
a few houses shy.
Yeah, no,
be
it's just, we couldn't even borrow $30 million, and that doesn't include doing the local collection system, which would be over 5 million. The 30 to 40 million would be just for transmission and pumping facilities to hook it up to Detroit. So, no other community besides Oxford Township even wanted to talk to us about being able to link up through their community. So, in Oxford Township, we probably would have had to pay a premium to them just for the opportunities to hook up. They weren't gonna just let us do it for free. They'd expect something from it.
So the
So-
public will vote on this then when you
Well-
finally make your decision?
It'll be up to the council, but Yeah, I would recommend it personally, but,
Because it is leaving some people out that might want to.
oh, no, that,
I guess that's the trade-off. I know when we drew up the district, because I wasn't able to make the last meeting, but we initially requested the district. The sizing was over 2 times the flow for the community septic, but that included, I think, the school, I forget how far west that included, but it was basically more or less the entire community. But that was very cost prohibitive because we actually looked at the options of pumping from here over to Oxford or whatever system was available. But I don't think we had any numbers on price, so if numbers on price came back in the last meeting, I don't have that, so, but I know initially when we drew out the district, it was to try and include everyone, so that at least that way yeah.
Kind of looks like on the map that they've included, on the north side, they included a larger parcel, and then we're missing some of the smaller ones down to Alex's, between John and Alex,
Yes,
basically. Like, to me, that is not what I was
yeah, that
intending.
really doesn't address what drove us to start looking at a sewer system.
Right, not the people with 10-acre parcels.
Right.
Who have plenty of room.
Realistically, by what the intent of this was, the only option that I see feasible is the lagoon system, but that's by what the intent is.
Well, and we did approach we had several online and telephone conversations with Michigan Eagle, the environmental Great Lakes energy group who license larger systems. And we explored the idea of having 2 community septic systems. In other words, have 2 separate systems and have double the size acreage to put the fields in, and they didn't want any part of it. They had allowed other communities to do it, but I think that was where they had actually gone to court and ordered these communities to install systems because there was a health and safety question that really involved lakes and streams. It wasn't like we are, where we don't have a lake or a stream that we're in danger of polluting. And so they were like, no, voluntarily, we're not, we'll give you a small community. We could up the size of the community septic system to a small amount, but we would fall under Eagle's guidelines. If we kept it at the size that you see here, Oakland County Health Department could license us for it, which cuts down cost, etc. But it really doesn't do the job that we wanted it to do. So, and again, these aren't foregone conclusions that this is what we're going to do. These are the most practical and cost-effective things which is why we're looking at them.
How is that maintained? Or is there a lot of
Oh,
maintenance?
well, a community septic system does require maintenance like any other system.
Is it a continuous thing, or is it?
Yeah, you would have to have a certified technician who would maintain. It's not like a single family. You have a pumping state. You still have a pumping. You actually have a couple pumping stations. You have a processing building, and then instead of discharging into a lagoon or into a pipeline somewhere else, discharges into a septic field that has to be maintained as well. So,
So that's
but it would be more of a
job to hire
part-time.
somebody for that?
It wouldn't take a full-time person. We could probably get a licensed technician to do the maintenance on it.
Could you contract with a local septic company to do the work or something like that?
No, well, I don't know. Either Oakland County Water Resources Commission, they do that. They maintain a lot of those systems. And that would probably be the most cost-effective for the village. But I think when you get into the lagoon systems and all that, then you have a higher level of technical expertise required, a lot more records and stuff like that. So it's a very good point. It adds a whole new level of management to the village council. I mean, it's not like a turnkey, start it and forget it kind of thing. There would be, I've mentioned it before, we're talking about, aside from maintenance, there's billing, there's, record keeping, all of that stuff is just way beyond anything we've ever really been involved in.
What is property going for now?
Pardon me?
How much is property going for per acre?
It depends on
Out here.
how good it is. I can't remember what we talked about. Any ideas
No,
per acre?
you said.
I think they estimate, the one area in Leonard, they did suggest possible acquisition. They estimated $10,000 an acre,
10,000.
but that's for larger parcels. It wouldn't be like buying a smaller parcel would probably be double that, if not more.
Right.
So,
If it's got to be cleared or not.
absolutely. Topography,
Has to perk properly.
Farmland would be best.
yeah, topography plays a big role, not only in the location of the system, but the operation of it, because water runs downhill, and water always wins. So you can pump it uphill all you want, eventually it's gonna find its way back down. So there's a lot to it. But that's what they estimated for land acquisition. So that was really all I wanted to tell the council. As soon as we get, these are basically minutes, and some of the discussion that was, held by the members present at the last sewer committee meeting. So I'll keep you updated, obviously, as we get more.
Interesting. I don't think we're ever going to get sewers, right?
We are not on the SEMCOG map and have not ever been on the SEMCOG map for water or sewers.
Neither is left.
I don't know how they stopped at Oakland Township. And getting onto their map is expensive, obviously.
So this is the good option then?
Well, it's one of very few
that-
possible.
That are available, yeah. Well, you get the interest of the community again. They'll be
Well,
coming to the meetings.
People move out here from the cities and can't believe that they have to maintain a septic system or they have to have a well. And these are all things, or that the roads are dirt,
Yeah. I'd rather have a well and a septic any day. I've had city stuff and
Well, when you have to get a new well or a new septic,
Yeah, but
it
still.
gets expensive. It's, not cheap.
Some of them don't even have the property to do that anymore, do they?
Well, that's why we're doing what we're doing. If you have enough,
That's really the only thing that drives this whole sewer study, is that people are landlocked.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
need some.
They need an option if their
and
systems fail.
the people are gonna pay for it. I mean, the people that it serves are
It's
the whole village isn't paying for it if it only serves a certain area. So it gets even harder to do because we don't have a lot of residences that are gonna be served by this. And so
they won't necessarily hook up everybody in that.
well, what happens is once a district, assuming it is created, the Department of Agriculture and the Michigan, so the state revolving fund that fund these types of projects require you to adopt an ordinance that will either, you have many choices, not many, you have a few choices. You can tell people have to hook up within 7 years, 3 years. They have to hook up to sewer immediately, things like that. It's,
Or a changeover.
yeah, and if you live within a certain distance from the system, but in our case, we're building a system specifically for a given area. It's not gonna,
How is that paid? How does the homeowner, is that
it's
tax
a bill. It's a,
or they get
They just get
it's like a
septic
special
one.
assessment.
special assessment?
Yeah.
Okay.
But because state law provides for the ability to do that, it's a water bill for all intents and, water or sewer bill for all intents and purposes. So, excuse me. Okay. Excuse me again. Moving on, are there any other questions? I hope not. Okay. I think we did have one request, FOIA request, but it really wasn't ours, it was for the township. So it was turned over to them. And then we did not receive any CDBG applications for assistance. I had no active ordinance enforcement going on. Oh, thank you. And then I did want to tell you, and I don't want anybody throwing anything at me, but I wasn't home when the last power outage went, but I was on the phone with DTE every single day. And I also sent a couple of poison emails to the people that I've had contact with, kind of reminding them that they promised that they were going to make improvements. So today, what I can tell you is that DTE is committed to improving our power grid, and that they are going to be changing out over 100 circuit connectors. They're like circuit breakers that automatically trip when there's a power. The whole idea being is that the old ones are breaking down now, and that's why we're having trouble. As soon as a branch shorts a wire, or the wire comes up, an insulator breaks, shuts down a huge area. They're going to install these units to make it
More localized.
yeah, if you have, where the tree branch fell, it might take out the homes around that, but it's not going to take out the whole north side of the village of Leonard, you know, from Beza Street north, which is basically what's happening. That last, the last outage was caused, they said wind, everybody knows, they said wind damage. Actually, it was related to the weather, that one of the poles, one of the major transmission poles that goes through Lakeville Swamp, where it came out at Lakeville Road by the boat launch, due to the wind and the weather, the pole snapped. Well, I think the transformer blew, the pole snapped, and then there was a fire. So it took them almost 3 days to get it fixed. They were telling people Monday, and that's why I was on the phone telling them it's just not rational for you to have a single pole down and have 3 days of an outage when you can restore virtually the whole community by fixing that. So they did get it fixed by Sunday, which was a day early. And for which I said, thank you, but, you know, it's like, it is like pulling teeth. And really, the state attorney general has started an inquiry, an official inquiry, to kind of force DTE to put the customers above the shareholders. In other words, to upgrade, well, but if somebody doesn't hold their feet to the fire, it's not going to get done. And we did get some improvements back in 2012 or 13 when.
Worked for a while.
Yeah, well, okay, I know none of us wants to be here all night. One quick story. They brought a 13,000 volt power line from Almont over to the ITC corridor, and then brought it down south through Gerst Road, Boardman Gerst, going down to hook into the Brewer Circuit, which is, we are in the Brewer Circuit, that substation that's by Brewer Road and Rochester Road. That's our circuit. So they backfed it that way. But they can't use it because the Brewer Circuit is an 8,500 volt circuit, and the circuit they brought in is 13,000 volts. So they said, well, we can use that if it gets so bad, if there's something really bad happens in Addison Township, then we'll transfer the voltage from 13 to 8, and but it takes 3 days to do it. So we're saying, and Bruce Pearson is right there with me, we're saying, come on, you guys. I said, you've got the answer right in the palm of your hands. Make this an 8,000 volt circuit and distribute it as a backup, like they do from, they brought in one from, north of Elmont. Elmont? Oh, that is Elmont. They have one that comes from the east to the Brewer Circuit. And so, but this outage frankly was so bad, that it didn't matter. That when the Brewer Circuit goes down, then there's nothing to be done. So, okay.
They're getting beat up right now.
They are.
They're getting beat up in like Livonia today or something like
Yeah,
that.
but you know what? They're used to it. So you keep, they take it on the chin when it happens, and then a month later, it's water under the bridge. So until something else happens. So they're used to that. So our hope is to keep the pressure on. And what I'm going to do is if this happens again, every single customer should call the Michigan Public Service Commission and lodge a complaint. Because the MPSC, it matters. They're the ones that set the rates, and they're the ones that are supposed to make sure that the customers are taken care of. And Detroit Edison has to answer each and every complaint individually, which is a pain for them. And so, in my mind, I think that would be the answer. We can't just sit idly by and say, oh, it's the weather's fault, and it is, but not when you have old equipment. I mean, they have a lot of old equipment out here. Crossbars that are older than the poles, because when they change poles out, they just move the crossbars onto the new poles. And so, yeah, they've already got 30, 40 years on them. So I say that in the hope that people will understand that we are trying to do something, and all we can do is try. Keep working at it. Enough said.
Skip DPW.
Pardon?
You skip DPW.
Yeah, I don't have anything for
Oh, okay.
Don was by himself the last snowstorm, so we didn't truck much of the snow around. It's still piled around the village. But everything worked out okay, other than the power, so. Okay, moving on to, Summer Festival Committee. I know they met. They got a plan, for 2023. Pretty much it sounded to me like the same plan we had last year. Got the Strawberry Derby. We had them parade at 4 o'clock. I think it's pretty much the same kind of setup, at least at this point in time. Okay. Cable Commission, anything, John?
Just paid bills pretty much, and then we gave Terry a raise for the board. That was pretty much about it.
How much of a raise?
6%.
What?
6.
6? That's not bad. That's inflation's more than that. So, okay, decorating committee. I did get the account set up with, Global, forget the name of it, the company that we ordered the, outdoor furniture through. I just have to get with, Jennifer to find out if, we haven't sent a check yet, have we, or anything? We haven't done that, so. But we won't lose out because of the time that has elapsed, because we're gonna be a preferred purchaser now, because we're because we set up this account and we're eligible for discounts over and above what they advertise to the public. So hopefully that'll make it worthwhile. North Oakland Transportation Authority, we're going to get the 2.8 million from the county sometime this month. But as far as service, everything's running as it always has. We're performing the same service areas. Planning Commission, we're not We don't have anything from the village for the planning commission, do we? So Leslie doesn't think we need to have a meeting if there's no business.
I will make a motion to cancel the planning commission meeting for March 2023.
Second that.
There's a motion and a second to cancel the March regular meeting of the planning commission. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Motion carries. There is no planning commission meeting. Thank you, Leslie. All right, Pollyant Trail, there's a meeting this Wednesday. NODA has the meeting on Thursday, by the way. Both are regular meetings. I think Pollyant Trail is going to be mostly getting ready for spring. There is a bottle and pop can drive going on now for the Pollyant Trail and the Oxford Addison Youth Assistance through the end of March. If you have some, you can, bottles and cans you want to donate, contact me or contact Judy. Or you can take them to Oxford, the old Oxford garage behind the police station there. There's a drop-off point anytime. And let's see, Village Park. I don't think we have anything new there. And we have not gotten a community development block grant report again. Correspondence, we did hear from the VFW. They're going to have their annual poppy drive. And we also got a letter from Seventh-day Adventists that they're going to be going door to door, bringing salvation to your doorstep. So if you have a notice up that says no solicitation, you can certainly ask them not to. But we don't license them. We're not going to do that church state thing. You know, if they want to go around and knock on people's doors, there's really not much. It's not sales. They're not selling, you know.
Did they give a date range of when they would be in the area?
I don't believe they did.
It's way music.
Did I have a copy of that? My apologies. I got one for the poppy sales.
It should be underneath it.
I was just curious. If they didn't, that's no big deal. I mean,
They usually run from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., June 4th through August 10th.
oh, well, summer.
So,
What was that date again?
which one?
June
June
4th.
4th through August 10th.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right.
it's not an abbreviated period of time. So, and that's all I have unless anybody, council member, have anything else?
Take a motion, we adjourn.
Second that.
I like that.
47.
All those in favor of the motion to adjourn, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
Who seconded?
Thanks.
Zach?
Thank you. What?